one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Get started here. Do we have any additions to the agenda? None? Okay. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Vote on your, any discussion, sir? You got it? You got it already? Wow. It's amazing.
Well, we get this going in the background in case Selena happens to call in.
Is that it?
Don't say mine.
No.
I'm gonna push this button and see.
You just think, oh, yeah.
There it is. There's, I'm sorry.
Okay, motion carries 4-4.
Yes, 4-0.
Or zero.
You're the Fantastic Four tonight, guys and ladies.
Fantastic four. Okay, so we are concerned Burlington USD 244 patrons, and so I understand we have
First one we have, yes, is Kyle Lincoln.
Kyle Lincoln, so you have 5 minutes if you want 5 minutes, or? You're good.
Every month, I pledge my head, heart, hands, and health to better my community, my country, and my world. Every month, for the past 11 years, I have served as a 4-H'er to make the best better. Without 4-H in my life, I would not be the person I am today. The honor of wearing a 4-H cord does not come lightly, and let my past 11 years be a testimony to that. This organization has given me opportunities that no other could offer. I have not only served as a Coffee County Ambassador for 3 years, but I have held leadership positions in my club and the Coffee County 4-H Council. Some of my proudest accomplishments have been through this organization. There are 2 things that I am always proud to share. One is that I have over 700 hours of community service. Not all of them have been through 4-H, but I learned the importance of community service through this organization. The second is that I am proud to have been a Burlington Wildcat. I got to walk across the stage and wear my honor cords and stoles while I officially became Burlington alumni. That being said, I was missing one of the biggest honors. Youth in our community are pledging their head, heart, hands, and health to their community, country, and world. Furthermore, students at Burlington High School are learning to make the best better, not just in the high school, but outside of it too. One important lesson that I have learned from 4-H is the lasting, lifelong skills. One of the most important is advocating. That is why I am here today, to advocate for future 4-H'ers to wear their honor cords. I do believe that there should be guidelines put in place because not everyone is as devoted to 4-H. As I have mentioned, I have over 700 hours of community service. One of the most important points to this is that it is my community that I served. I have been involved in 4-H through the local, regional, state, and even national level. However, it all starts in the community that I am blessed to be a part of. For this reason, my peers and I will be the next generation of volunteers. We will be the next Board of Education members, volunteer firefighters, water board members, teachers, county commissioners, city council members, superintendents, and so much more. My peers and I have learned the proper parliamentary procedures that have developed soft skills such as public speaking. 4-H is sparking the next generation to make the best better through volunteering and community service. This organization is the definition of learning the lesson that the honor is not through ribbons, banners, or trophies. It is the hours spent making the best better for our community, our country, and our world. To further my point that the 4-H cord is an honor, it is that my peers and I have made it to graduation as 4-H'ers. More and more 4-H memberships are dropping as students enter high school. This can be due to many reasons, but one of them is that the other school activities are requiring more out of students so that they have to make the choice of one or the other. Do not get me wrong, school involvement is my first advice to younger classmates. My point is that my peers and I have learned the definition of commitment. 4-H taught me to not just be committed to it, but other activities. This lesson is what led me to be an active student through the wide variety of clubs and organizations that Burlington has to offer. All of these lessons is why I believe that the 4-H cord is an honor. The following is current guidelines to obtain a 4-H cord upon working with the local research and extension agents. Be a good standing member of the club, participate in club activities such as community service, fundraising events, and meetings held. It is my suggestion to include over 75 collective hours of community service in high school through 4-H to the guidelines, but other requirements should be established through working with the local research and extension and program development committee, PDC. In order to obtain these cords, another suggestion is to have the presentation of the 4-H honor cords during senior honor night and invite club leaders or local 4-H agents at the research and extension office to present. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
compliment you on your hours and your dedication.
Yes.
For sure.
Very much so.
And who's next?
Jay,
Oh, did you have any other comments?
she's choosing not to
She's
speak.
not
Yep,
going to,
yep,
okay.
so it's Jay.
We'll take your stuff under, we'll talk about it.
Yes, we do.
We won't do
Always.
that here, but we'll talk about it some more, okay? But thank you very much for your comments.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, Jay?
Well, I applaud you for being in 4-H like that.
Yes.
The thing I would hire 4-H for is I know how to run a meeting. So, for all the skills you've learned, that was a big one. And thanks for letting me participate also in the senior interviews. We have 4-Hers part of ours in there, and it can make some difference. And so, thanks for letting me be part of it. I want to talk about the PDC. Now, you're going to look at the 5-year professional development plan tonight. Part of that is the PDC, that council. And just for you to think about, and for appearance's sake, it's supposed to be a representative council. And you look at that, the numbers are the names on there. The professional staff is well represented on the names there, but it's no longer a representative council when every administrator is also on there. It's supposed to be represented, so you have the administrators, these 5 administrators, who's going to represent us. And so for appearance's sake, what it looks like is you're stacking the deck on this, trying to, we're going to get these 5 administrators in, we'll control things. And it might not be what you're doing at all, I don't think it is, but just for appearance's sake, you ought to be aware of that. If there's going to be a representative council, it needs to be representative, and not say, you 5 are going to be on there. It just gives a bad appearance.
Sure. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Anything else? That was the last one. Moving on, we have a thank you from Michael Williams for the vote stamp. You'll read that?
It is, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Student, we're gonna,
Well, yes, we were supposed to recognize the state wrestlers, and I just got a late message from Taylor Wilson saying the ladies aren't available. Again, what we try to do is recognize those that go to state and place, and those listed are there, Joanna Carrasco. And we, for whatever reason, didn't get her last year. And so I wanted to recognize her for not only 2023, 2024 wrestling, but also 2022, 2023. And then Olivia Lyons is also a state placer this year at 120 pounds. So again, 3rd place this year for Joanna, 6th place for Olivia. So they were not able to be here tonight, last minute change in plans. So we do have certificates for them. I'll make sure that we get those to them for after the meeting tonight.
so we sure want to recognize those, and we'll try to get them in there some other time that we can recognize them publicly, so, but that's what we got for now, so, okay.
And congratulations to them as well as
Yes,
the
absolutely.
coaches and all involved with wrestling.
It's great to see those girls do that. I don't wrestle. Elementary school reports. Got anything extra?
Are we doing reports next month, or is this it? Because if we're not doing reports next month, I got something. If we are doing reports.
You're gonna
next
be
month, I'm
here
sending
next
it.
month, so I'm gonna let you pick and
I'm gonna
choose.
say it.
She's gonna
Save
say that
it.
because she's got to be here. Good call.
Save it.
Save it.
So moving on, unless there's any questions.
Keep you guys on the edge of your seat for a month.
I like it.
Right.
Matt, spring time.
They have their 8th grade promotion tonight, so it's a busy night in Burlington with 8th grade promotion, high school regional softball, and whatever else.
Anybody have any questions we need to get to but Jody's here.
A little drenched, but we're going good. The one thing I want to draw your attention to is at the bottom is the class of 2028. The state, I think you've heard throughout the years that those credits are upping and a lot of changes. One of the things that came out is that we are going to start, they have graduation assets. So across the state of Kansas, every student will have to meet at least 2 of those assets. And if you notice on there, there is a 4-H key award on there. So, you know, the battle with the courts is well before my time. So, and I think many of you guys know I'm a 13-year pin holder for 4-H, so it's near and dear to my heart. So as moving forward, the state is recognizing Scouts and 4-H and their leadership as a part of that wraparound piece of what it makes to be a successful high school graduate, right? So as we, something to consider, and I'm hoping that June we want to have stuff in our handbook that says what chords are acceptable, and as these ladies will put a plan together, is my only request to that was, what does an honor chord mean? And that's, I think, what Kyla was saying, is that not just to be a member and come, because that looked even different in my office talking to the 6 people there, is some were active members and some might have not been so active, right? Like, just like in everything. So these people who are dedicated and done that 700 hours of community service, and you see all of our students have that option, is to meet one of their assets in high school's community service. So we're going to be pushing that hard as we move through these next 4 years. So ideally, as we put a plan together, I am in support of putting a plan together, looking at that. We're working together as a community, moving forward. And so, as you said, you can't deny the state has been talking about it for years. Hey, give them credit if they go out and do this for 4-H, this for Scouts, and it's now coming to fruition to the point that they put it on paper. And so moving forward, you'll hear, I'm sure we'll work together so that we have something put together. And then we want it in our handbook, so when you do approve that this summer, that we have specifics on those rows. And just a couple other things, like the questions are, our kids' individual plan of study. They take Allen County courses. Previously, they had to take that on their own time. We switched it to where we give them the hours. There's no reason these kids have to take 7 of our hours and go home and do that. So while they're doing that in our school, and they're meeting the honors ribbons, or honors ropes, they should be able to wear their graduation, because that's part of their high school experience and a concurrent. And so this is just adding to it, because it's not a traditional school anymore, okay? So I think you know that I'm a very progressive thinker, and I think outside the box. So this just gives it more clout to when we have this discussion for 4-H and Eagle Scouts and some of that, junior ROTC programs. So this is across Kansas, not just our community, but it's going to affect everyone across Kansas. So just something to think about as we put something together. We need to get it in by June for you, and for approval for our handbook. So that's, as moving forward, that's our thoughts.
Good, I think that's good. I think it's like Jay mentioned, I said, if you interview any 4-Hers, or they definitely have it together, much more. I mean, they've been prepared, so that's good for you guys.
Well, these kids that make it to nationals for FBLA too, I mean, it's a accumulation of their 4-H, their FFA. FBLA just reap the benefits of it from their past experiences. And so that's what's nice to see, is that they're carrying this over to benefit our school, and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm in support of that. I wanted to let you know, and Mr. Wilson's in support of it. But we just wanted a little more clout to the pot there of what that honor cord means. Get that in writing so that the agency can say, okay, you don't just get to wear a card for being a member for a year or 6 months and not doing such and such. Because then the kids who've been in for years and then held those local offices, the district, and even maybe the state or national, what does that look like? So.
Right. Well, good. Thank you. Anything else?
Test scores are again, we're finishing up our first year, and I think Matt will be the same way. We love FastBridge. So as we move and use the comparative data, I think we're going to see some great things with that. So we're very pleased with that. And honestly, I don't remember what else I put, because I actually got it in on time this month. So graduation was amazing. It did go well. And you saw that we have 69 kids that are off to great things. And I'm making them sign in as they come in, and they just pretty funny. You are now alumni, sign in. That's a new part of their life, so.
60-some rubber ducks.
I do on my desk, and so if anybody needs rubber ducks, I do have those.
You know, I think that, I like your points about 4-H and, I think historically it was, we had to have a guideline, and so I like that you're coming up with some more guidelines, because it just can't be whatever anybody wants to wear.
Right.
So that's where all of that came in, you know, if it wasn't, you know, we just had to have a finite definition, basically. And so we haven't been able, you know, so now that you're looking for that and you're working towards that, I like that, because then at least it's still, you know, specific guidelines. It's not just, well, I wanna wear a green cord, and I wanna wear purple, and I wanna do this because I did that. And so, yeah, I like that.
4-H has been a big one for several years, so there's been a lot of
Yeah,
traction to it, so,
there's a lot of
they
ambition
got the
behind
right
it.
people, I think, so.
And I'm gonna mention, I'm gonna say Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, the list goes on and on. There are so many different things that are involved in after-school activities, not related into I guess, the fabric of at least Bowdoin High School, but they're very, very important. No doubt, they make up, again, an important piece of people's lives. The problem for us dealing with that is, where do you stop? Okay, I'm gonna go to K-State, I want a purple cord for graduation. I'm going to KU, I want a blue or a red one. And then the list goes on and on and on. And once you allow outside cords, then it's Katie bar the door. You have to understand that. That's why we came up with that policy before, because you can't just say, oh, we're gonna allow the good cords and not the bad cords, because the official term is arbitrary and capricious, if you wanna use a fancy legal attorney term.
Yeah.
In other words, basically, it's basically saying Marshall or Grover can't pick and choose what is okay and what's not okay. So that's the dilemma that the board runs into and we run into when we allow anything that's, I'm gonna say, not connected to a school related.
Right, that's where I think we come up with the guidelines that say what is gonna be related in something that is achieved during a school hour, like getting your associate's degree from Allen County or 4-H, and it's looked like the state is gonna recognize that, and you move forward with those guidelines, I think.
Well, and when Dr. Watson years ago came up with the Cans and Pan vision and talked about why wouldn't you have 4-H if the kids aren't going out? Why would you get credit those 2 hours if they're going out? This was his big vision. It has come to this point to now, class of 2028 has to do community service. Are we gonna make them do, like, let's say they choose that as one of their assets. Are we gonna make them do stuff for school and for 4-H? No, so his vision took 7 years, 8 years here to come to light, but that's what it is. It's like, if we're supporting the community, so that those guidelines are gonna help. And then as Mr. Marshall is saying is, you know, we did have kids that ordered honors cords online. Not that they didn't, but you know how, I don't know if you ever, James, you probably didn't, I'm just kidding. You probably got this little leadership things in the mail that says, congratulations, you get to go to watch, and you pay $80. Those are the type of things we will keep a tab on, is that, you know, if we've initiated it, if it goes to those community service hours for the school, why wouldn't we support that? Or whatever it might be. So the state came up with those assets, which really gives us that focus and gives us the backbone behind our decision, your decision.
Good, thank you. Anything else? We got through the years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through that one. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Gosh.
Wednesday,
I don't have anything
Bill had
Yeah. Really to add. We have currently 1 certified position open in Legal Waverly and 25 para positions open.
It's crazy, what does that look like for next year? I mean, already just.
I mean, I would say that's where we were
Okay, that's
a
what I
year
was gonna
ago. It's a lot, but I'll have hiring fair again. If that yields 1, it's worth it, but it's yielded 5, 6, so it's worth it.
My question with those 24, is that because they don't have a contract yet, or we have people say they're not coming
They're not.
back? and so-
It's either roles that we already had, or it's people that are not returning as well, and there's a variety of reasons. We have some that are going into student teaching, we have some who have found another job, we have some that are gonna stay home with kids, I mean, like, just a variety of reasons.
That's through all the schools.
That's through the whole
So
county,
that's
yeah.
through the whole
That is through the whole county, and, 245, I think, has got they're gonna downsize a little bit, but I think they've got theirs filled. 243 is the one that struggles the most, so we're looking at some other options up there. I'm gonna have lunch with our superintendent Wednesday, actually, to kind of problem solve some options up there to see what we can do to help that situation, but, we'll tackle it, that's what I spend my summer doing, mostly is interviewing and hiring, so.
Mhm. Well, good luck with that. Anything else for Lindsay? Mr. Coolman, you're up.
Unless you have any specific questions, I'll save my time for the results report.
Okay. Mr. Marsh.
First of all, before I start with my list, talking to two different area superintendents that are, I'm going to say, an hour and a half radius in any direction from Burlington. I'm not going to identify them. One of them I talked to, a colleague, has said that they're having a need for 10 bus drivers. They're 10 bus drivers short for next year. And they're really seriously wondering how they're going to make that happen. They're even looking at potentially paying parents to transport their kids because they don't know if they're going to even come close to getting 10. The second one, I had a colleague that he was looking for an art teacher. He had 5 interviews. I said, my gosh, 5 interviews for art, that's incredible. And he said, yes, but all 5 turned me down for other jobs. And when they had called and asked them why, because he called each of them and asked, offered him the job, and then they said, no, why? Your facilities aren't anywhere near what I've got offered for another job. So facilities matter and are important. And we're very fortunate that we have the facilities that we have. So anyway, 2 side notes there, just kind of popped up. We have our service and retirement celebration coming up tomorrow. We dismiss at 12:30, 2 o'clock to about 3 o'clock. If you can attend, you're more than welcome. It's at the high school. There's cake and punch involved as well. We're going to honor a lot of different people with 5, 10, 15, 20 year and more commitments. We'll honor our retirees and so on and so forth. A really nice, fun event. And who knows, we may even have a surprise in the future. So additional surprise. Got to see what happens tomorrow, though. Anyway. There was a story in the paper, Coffee County Republican ran a story about a possible college, high school, senior college baseball team called the River Monsters possibly playing here in 2025. I want to let you know that has not been confirmed with USD 244. I keep you guys abreast and in tune with everything. That was a 2-email conversation with Mr. Wilson, and nothing set in stone, nothing definitely at all, as far as confirmation. We definitely will let you guys know if that has a possibility of happening and talk to you about the parameters we put in place. But again, we have a commitment to the rec center for all their activities. We want them, they are a partner with us. We want to make sure they're taken care of in the summer with their activities. If this were to work out, it would have to be knowing that they are number 2 in the pecking order, rec center first. So just FYI there. Nothing is set in stone there. Nothing's even been discussed or confirmed or whatever. We'd even have to talk about a rental agreement because it would be different than just like a 1-day or 2-day type thing. This would be like a summer type thing. We're gonna have to have discussions about that. I want to bring that to you guys to your attention. On May 7th, we had our yearly accreditation visit. A lady by the name of Jean Rush from KSDE. She's, retired superintendent, principal. She's now working with KSDE and doing accreditation visits. 75 schools she has visited so far. And Darla, what did she say?
She said we are a gold star.
We are a gold
Yes.
star. Very, very impressed. She was very impressed by our district, the things that we're doing, and so on and so forth. So again, that's a credit to administrators, directors, our staff, everything they do every day to work with students in USD 244. So kudos to everyone for everything that they do to make Burlington quite a success. And then just want to thank everybody, staff, students, families, board members for another excellent year. There's just too many positives to mention. We're just fortunate to have a very strong educational culture in USD 244. And with that, I think that's it for me. Questions?
Easy.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Coleman, could we
we'll get that the board reports you need to go, or year-end recognition first, year-end
Oh, sorry.
recognition first. That is just a list of the awards that we have for staff, that we'll be presenting tomorrow. The year-end, end of the year recognition list.
I'm always interested in the number of years for the 3 retirees, 79 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow,
Yes, we're gonna miss those people.
yeah, I'd say.
Board reports, I guess, yeah, I did skip. Anybody have anything?
Two quick things, maybe I might just, I know it's not my report, but even for board reports. Real quick, you did ask me to check into potential drawings or renderings for an elementary school, just very basic type drawings. Clark Simpson, our architect with GMCN, Gibson, NCD, Carmichael Nelson, gave me a dollar figure of about $9,000 to create some plans that would not only have visuals, but also some descriptions of the rooms, of the sizes of the rooms, and so on and so forth. It would be about a $9,000 amount that we would be looking to commit. One thing about it is, let's say we do something here in the very near future, we got it. Let's say a year or 2 or 3 years. If we don't do something for a year or 2 or 3 years, we've got that. We can start that. That can be a basic building block to start with, if you want me to have him do that for us.
It's preschool through what grade?
We're looking at preschool through 5th grade. It's to be a PK through 5 building.
But it'd be easy to adjust if you needed to.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that, we need some kind of conceptual drawing or something we can see and see how that's gonna fit. I mean, 9,000 is a little bit, you're gonna spend it now, or spend it later, so.
I support it. I mean, I think, you know, like you said, whether he's it soon or later, and then it's important for the public to see that too. I mean,
That's what
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. I'll go ahead and move forward with that.
yeah, if we go forward with the plan, and we want the public to be able to see what we're talking about.
It might be a little bit less, it just all depends on the hours, but he said that would not exceed 9,000.
I'm in the wrong business.
Chip away at it.
And then also, Lucas did share with me some information. We did talk a little bit about some lots, and I don't know if you want to mention the lots at the Meadows. I think all 3 lots did sell
Sold
They're sold together,
They sold together
yes,
at 79.5.
79 side, right?
1/3.
Okay, we talked a little bit about this before. Do we want to look at the land south of the main entrance to the high school? Do we want to at least look into selling that land? And if we do, we can do, again, sealed bids, we can do auction, we can do list it with a real estate agent, we can put some contingencies on that land that if sold, you would have to build on that land within 1, 2, 3 years, whatever. You couldn't just buy it and set on it for 30 years and sell it for double or triple the amount. If you didn't build on it within the time frame, 1, 2, 3 years, you would sell it back to the owner, us. We could put that into contingency for whatever the dollar amount would be that you would say. Thoughts on that? I don't know if you want to think about it a little bit more, come back in June. I just wanted to at least bring it up because we've talked about it a little bit.
I think we've talked about it for a while, and that, you know, my thought is that we're probably not gonna use that. I mean, you know, we have enough land around on our facilities, across the street, that, we could probably do most anything we want to do unless things really explode and got really bigger, but, then that little piece is gonna help us anyways.
Do you know any history of how the district acquired that land, or was it part of like when the rec center went in? I have no
See,
idea.
I don't know, I thought maybe it was when the rec center went in, I don't know where that came from exactly.
But they're for free.
Does the rec center know,
And that's the only
considering
reason I
selling
said
it, because they use it for soccer
Yes,
practices?
well, I talked to Scott Jeffers, and Scott has told me that they really are using the turf fields.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah,
it's
that's kind of
really,
Before, I
I've
was saying.
seen some kids practice and stuff, but
It's a place where kids,
run around.
yeah, run around and play.
yes. So he understands, he hasn't come back to tell me he's adamant we should not sell it. I guess if they really want it, they could look to buy it. I mean, currently they mow it and take care of it. We don't mow it, we don't do anything other than we just own it. So again, Scott did not have any objections on us if we did something different with it than just leave it as open space.
I mean, I hate to say this, but we are gonna sell it, I feel like we need to figure out the way to make the most amount of money out of it. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
So on that point, I have talked with Cameron Roth at Von Roth Brokers, and he would do it the same way he did the county land. It'd be pro bono, all the advertising would be on him. He'd do all of it, and it'd just go through him, and would be a fee for the school.
Terrific.
So if that was the avenue we wanted to go to, just a bid like they did, live auction or whatever, he could help us out.
is that what they did in live auction?
They did live auction.
Actually,
Telephone and online, they did all three.
They had quite a few bidders, really.
They did, so there were probably a dozen in the basement, and probably, I think, 3 online,
And
at
then
least listening.
2 on the internet or something like that. So, I mean, I think, I certainly would move to sell.
Do we wanna wait until a full board's here?
Probably.
Yeah, that's, I think it's wise. I mean, and there's probably some things to discuss, like, how many lots, and would we, someone's got to fix the drainage, so the city may have to be involved with that. Unless you wanna sell it with that diagonal through there, but those
It'd
are,
probably be that one or
Well, I
two,
guess I
but
would wanna
2 lots or 1 lot.
Make sure too that the rec center isn't interested, because if they wanted to purchase it, they're not gonna put a house on it. So if there's
Right.
something in there about needing to build on it, the rec center's not gonna be able to do that. So I would just wanna double check with them that they're not.
Yeah.
I'll call Scott one more time
Those things
to follow up with
Yeah.
him on that and tell him, let him know that we are seriously considering doing something with that land.
You could also
On
talk to
that, yeah,
Cameron, see how to break that up, or see whatever, and bring that back to the board, so.
sure. I will speak with Scott before the next meeting, share some information on our conversation and our Friday notes, and keep you informed on that. When Angela Trimble did do like a market analysis on that, she said you can do 1 of 2 things. You could work with the city to fix the drainage if you wanted to, or you could just sell it as is and let whoever buys it works with the city and fix the drainage. I would personally, I'd recommend option 2. That way they are dealing with the building and that piece. We teach kids. We don't necessarily.
We don't handle big drainage.
So, I would rather construction people deal with the property issue to fix that piece, so. It would probably, again, Angela indicated, if you do that piece and fix it, the property's gonna be worth some more money. But if you let them do it, and you're gonna have to pay to get it done, so is it gonna wash? Are you gonna lose on that, in the end on that?
Right, and that's the city gonna do anyway, they're gonna say it's already there.
Exactly. I will check with Scott, and then maybe when we have a full board in June, we'll bring that up for topic.
with the buddy.
Thank you.
Anything else? Now, we read the results report.
So the first one I'm gonna pull up is the extracurricular one. If there's anything that you guys want to see on.
Seems like, yeah, we had quite a few more this year. Quite a few more school year.
Well, one of the things that we talked about in our KISA year, or review thing too, was like, you look at kids that are involved and the difference in GPAs, and, across the board, it was pretty much a 0.5 increase, in GPA for those involved versus those not, which historically, statistically proves out that same way.
I'm just curious, looking at the numbers for participation through the rec center, there's a lot of kids that play soccer in elementary school. Has there ever been any interest in middle school or high school? I just feel like it's gaining some traction, but,
Not yet.
yeah.
But, again, soccer would be a ladies' sport in the fall and a male sport in the spring, if you were looking in terms of that.
Yeah.
I'd say we have to be somewhat careful about, again, if we get too many programs, we're gonna water down. We're gonna water down our participation piece. Could I see it in the future? Yes, especially if we have an influx and an increase in enrollment here, definitely So, you know,
My Elliot, he played travel, and we had to go to Emporia because he loved it so much. I mean, there would be interest, I do think, there are kids that want to do it, I think it just hasn't been an option really, and I don't know, like, who would you play? Emporia High School, like, all those things.
not as many 3A schools have soccer, of course. When you get to 4A, 5, 6, there are schools that do have 3A soccer though, but they may not have a baseball or a softball team too, it's possible, so, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree that you're gonna have to, what are you gonna run?
What's the threshold?
You'd have to do
Good thought.
a survey of that and see how many kids are really interested in something like that.
There's probably a, study done based on your population, how much you should really be offering anyway, right?
So there was a huge influx in girls track this year, so.
We're very lucky to have the activities we have in the school. We're very lucky to have a rec center that's very active in the community, so it is a blessing to have what we have. Okay.
Next one is technology.
And my technology sub-end report is very similar from year to year. The beginning parts, we kind of give you an overview of what our district technology plan is, and there's several slides that represent that through our 21st century technology skills, our instructional technology, career and technical education, and then our student and business data systems. And I won't go through each of those individually. You can read kind of what's included in those areas, but right at the heart or the center of the diagram is our network infrastructure and those pieces that connect all of our different systems. We constantly want to remind everyone about the digital divide. It's not just that equity of the devices, but even more so the equity of the skills. And so we feel it's important for us to provide as many technology skills to our students as we can. We do have our technology performance standards in grades 1 through 8, and then high school interactive media class. And we do a technology assessment at 2nd grade as they exit primary grade levels. 4th grade as they exit the elementary school, 8th grade as they exit the middle school, and then the high school capstone course, which all students are required to take in the high school level. Looking at the results this year, 2nd grade, 100% of their technology standards were met by all their students. Skip over 4th grade for a second here, 8th grade, 93%, high school, 100%. 4th grade, students met all of the standards except for the keyboarding one. Disappointed in the percentage there, I even checked it like 3 times because it was only 42%. Visited with the 4th grade teachers about kind of some of the reasons for that. They have had some reduced lab time, iPads with non-standard sized keyboards and such. This is the first year of their ELA program, which because it's new for all the students, and I think we've talked before how it's quite a jump. It's a rigorous curriculum. The kids are getting into it now, but it has taken some time to get up to that new rigor. And so more time has been spent on it. And another issue is a lot of their programs now, or a lot of their materials are coming as consumables. So there's not as much typing as there was in the past, because more of it is rip-out pages, consumable pages. Also a high number of special ed students. So we are concerned that it went down to 42%. We're going to work on that this next year. One way that we are going to try to work on that is the 4th grade is piloting a laptop project at the 4th grade level as opposed to iPads, so that we get a real keyboard in their hands. and can better integrate with Microsoft Office and Microsoft Teams and see how that goes. They will not take home their laptops, it'll be just in the classroom use, but hope to see some much better numbers with that this year.
So I have a quick question on that. So then, with that number, have you talked to the fifth grade teachers or the team about, okay, what are we gonna do to try to basically remediate them to?
Exact, so our fifth graders, two of their 4 rotations in the fifth grade are tech-based. One is led by Courtney Finlayson and our assistive technology person. And then the other 4th of their rotations is with Tammy Vanderpool, our middle school technology teacher. They do 15 minutes every single day, as they, 10 to 15, kind of as in their period. They start out with that as the kids come in, they log right in, get right into keyboard. So we're hoping that we can bump that up and really take a look at how those kids do in 5th grade.
No, do those kids, they take those iPads home or they keep them at school? So-
The iPads are school-based, yeah. They took them home during COVID, but only during that time period. So.
I just wondered, on an iPad, I agree, I don't like the typing on the keyboard is really not, you know, feel, you just, so, I don't know if there's a way that you can connect a keyboard USB to a tablet, to a iPad, and then you could just have them and use them like an Apple.
Yes, you can do some Bluetooth things, and they've got keyboards with their iPads. They're very small.
Very small.
Some of the keys are not in the
I'm
right
sure
position.
you'll figure it out, I just
So
was.
we're just hoping that number will be better next year. We know it'll be better. We're going to put a concentrated effort on getting that better. And then 5th grade, working with them through 5th, 6th, 7th, so that by the time they meet their 8th grade standard or the next formal assessment. We do informals at all the other grade levels, all the other years, but those formal assessments at those years. We do have 16 pathways at the high school, have quite a number of students who have been involved in them. Those 16 pathways and the enrollments bring in about an additional $122,000 into the general fund annually. Following that, we've got a list of all the courses that are part of those career pathways and the student enrollments for the funded courses. Following that, we've got a list of our vocational completers. To be a completer, you have to have courses you have to have at least 3 courses, 2 of which are in the technical and the application levels. But you have to have a total of 3 credit hours minimum to be a completer, but you also have to earn an industry recognized credential. So we've grown that list each year, and the state is having some new ways that you can do that as well, and so hopefully we'll continue to encourage the students to go after those industry credentials. To be a concentrator, similar requirements, but only is that you have not obtained that industry recognized credential. So you've met everything but that credential. And so you can see there as well the number of students who are concentrators, quite a number. And then we have added on those that didn't finish a pathway. The hard thing is the state will only count you as a concentrator or a completer in one pathway. And so we've got students who may be able to achieve it in multiple pathways. One of our students here, technically, I think, could have gone in any of 4 different agriculture pathways, but we have to kind of choose one based on kind of what their focus has been or their interest in visiting with Julie Carden and that. So even though, names are on there once, some of them technically could be on there 3 or 4 times. These are students who, they may have had 2 hours within one pathway and 2 hours in another pathway and 2 hours in a third or fourth pathway even, but didn't achieve the sequence. So we recognize those certifications that they did as well. Just another couple items of note, kind of big ones for this summer. We are working on a whole district website redesign, as well as introducing Parent Square for both the staff and then our parents to be our kind of a single source information system, which will eventually replace Everbridge. And then I already mentioned our 4th grade laptop pilot. And it all boils down to, we've got really great teachers doing really great technology things with their students to produce a lot of great results.
I have one question, because the buzzword today is AI.
Yes.
You know, where you at, or where we going, or what is that, so.
We are cautious with AI. That's the word I would use. And in speaking with other technology directors and that's, the consensus is cautious.
Okay.
There are some schools who are blocking everything imaginable that they can ever come up with AI, and honestly, I think that's not necessarily the right approach, because I don't think you're ever gonna be able to block it all. There are some that are doing nothing about it. We have, there's a few sites that are not the greatest. We've blocked a few sites that are not educationally balanced. We are trying to educate our staff in how to utilize it, but also how to recognize when it's being used. And then hope to work more and more with our students in proper use and misuse of AI. So, yeah.
I figured you were something on it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's definitely not going
Crazy.
away, so, yeah,
Well, thank you very much for all that.
no problem, thank you.
Anybody have a question? Craig? Is that it?
Motion to accept the results to monitoring report concerning the technology, education, and extracurricular activities sub-results as reasonable progress towards meeting the board's results policy.
I'll second.
First, second. Any discussion? All those vote on your computer? Is it still on there?
Yeah, Selena, can you,
Selena, can you hear us?
and I don't know if you're able to vote or not.
It didn't, I put her in the meeting.
Hey, I can hear you. I just tried to on my phone. Did it go
So,
through?
no, you can just, voice vote, aye or no. Did you hear what the motion was?
I did. I
Okay.
You-
Selena votes aye.
Yeah, Selena, you're probably not gonna be able to vote because when we started the meeting, we didn't have you in, so you're gonna have to do a voice vote, please.
okay.
Okay, Selena votes aye, everybody, motion carries 5-0. Thanks, guys.
Bye, thanks for coming.
Jay's favorite topic. Professional development plan.
I think we may end up for maybe next month or the following month, possibly have Lisa Coolman here. Lisa's our PDC chairperson for many, many years, took over for Geraldine Curtis. Way back when, Lisa is all things PDC, all knowing, well, yeah, she's got it going on. She may have some answers to maybe some of the questions Jay had mentioned. It is a state, as you can tell, there's it's policy KAR 91-1-216C that is related to PDC. So, but it'd be good for her to maybe speak on a couple of those things. We'll maybe ask her to come to a future meeting.
Okay,
Any motion on that as well? And Sylvia will be able to.
motion for the 5-year professional development plan as presented.
I'll say,
Motion second, any discussion? By your vote.
And Selena, Lindsay says that you were able to vote on your phone now if you're still up and going.
Yep, she's in.
We got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. Structural materials selection and reconsideration policy.
We put this in for this month, but I do believe it's important to wait till we have a full board here to talk about this, because if you've read in other districts, they're dealing with book bans, challenges, so on and so forth. So Julie Templemeyer and Diane Marshall have been working on this for a district policy, and they've been working with the administrators on this. And so, having said that, I think it'd probably be best to I'll probably put this in the Friday notes as well, so you guys can look at review, and we can come back in June and go through it. You have the current policy in place, and then you have a much more, I'm going to say a much more up-to-date policy there for a possible proposal. So I guess we could just
I move to
table that.
Table this until next month's meeting.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. And so I'll put that in Friday notes for you guys to review. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask if I'm getting more information.
Motion to recess into executive session for 20 minutes to discuss a matter pursuant to non-elected personnel exception under Coleman to return into open session in this room at the end of that time, including Craig Marshall.
Second. Discussion.
I saw that sign.
How you gonna
Thank
do
you.
Selene?
Don't write an insult.
Selene, she gonna be on this
Get
executive?
send those
Yes.
kids home after lunch tomorrow too.
Crazy.
You blink.
Selena,
Can
you
you
wanna
vote?
vote?
BMS.
BMS supplemental.
Motion to approve the BMS supplemental positions as presented for the 2024-25 school year.
I'll second.
First, second, any discussion? We need coaches.
Selena, you need to vote.
Sorry, I,
Aye, Selena votes aye.
There.
Motion carries 5-0. Just, there's a concession stand open, saying if anybody wants to jump, so. Jay?
Thankless job.
Jay? No. Speak up.
Thankless job.
VHS.
VHS,
I'll move to approve the BHS supplemental positions as presented for the 2024-25 school year.
I'll second.
first, second, discussion?
Yeah, so if some of those assistants decide they don't apply, then we'll just,
We'll shuffle the deck.
Correct.
okay, thanks.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay. Selena, any discussion?
no discussion.
Okay, vote, if you would.
Aye.
Selena votes aye, anyone else votes? Motion carries 5-0.
Don't need a student issue.
And nothing for negotiation.
We'll have our first meeting on Wednesday.
Outstanding. Anybody have anything for the debrief round table? Okay.
I appreciate feedback from the public,
Yeah.
Pastor.
We always appreciate Jay's feedback.
and the girls.
Yes.
No, appreciate it. I said, yeah, it's good. And the girls, the 4-H was good too.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, that's it, adjourned.
Thanks for coming, Jim.